Hello everyone, Derek Stam Toys back with another action figure review. In this review we've got the Walmart exclusive Unrivaled Chris Jericho. I'm pretty excited to see the potential I could use this figure for. Of course, got a nice little shot of Jericho wearing the jacket and the gloves. And it was it from an episode of Dynamite and Rampage? I don't know. I can't exactly remember when he wore this. I just do remember him wearing this in that episode. But anyways, I don't know exactly what order you guys will be seeing this review in. It could be after the eBay package here, after the Seth Rollins review. It could be after the Mary Kart package that shows up tomorrow. If you guys decide to vote on it, I'm not exactly sure. But worst case scenario, you guys may end up getting this Chris Jericho review after the Johnny Gargano review goes up, as I am actually recording this in the process of that. So, happy late Halloween after the Johnny Gargano review. I did say happy Halloween in that, if you were just wondering. But anywho, why don't we bust the figure out of the package and see what this figure is all about. Alright, now that we've got Jericho out of his plastic prison, these are all of the accessories he comes with. Sadly, I wish we did get an extra mic holding hand, so if you wanted to, you could give him his signature bat. Of course, that's a Mattel bat. I don't own one of the AEW bats. But that's my only gripe as far as accessories go. He does come with a set of two fisted hands. He comes with a pointer finger hand. And that's pretty alright. He also does come with an AEW microphone, of course. Jericho being a promo god as he is, kind of makes sense. But let's get some hands back on the Jericho and look at the rest of this figure itself, shall we? Alright, now that we've gotten the Jericho out of his little plastic prison, we've gotten his hands back on him. Let's look at the rest of the Jericho itself. First things first, we're going to look at this head sculpt, because this head sculpt is definitely eye-catching. I do not mind the updated color on the Jericho hair. It is a little weird to look at if you look at, let's say, just to kind of get a little quick figure comparison. This Jericho, as the hair isn't exactly the same color as the Walmart exclusive Jericho. But maybe it is, and I'm just not really looking at it that well. But this one definitely looks a little bit more like grayer, or just more, I guess you could say maybe a little bit more lighter of the color, as where this one looks more blonde. Maybe that's just me, though. It's not a terrible head sculpt for Jericho. I just think the hair definitely should have been a darker tone. Especially if, I plan to use this at some point during a pick-fed match, but I want to use this for most of the match just because it's more of a serious tone. Might kind of throw off the disbelief there, but overall, not the worst head sculpt. We'll get back into some more Jericho comparisons here in a little bit. But getting into the top half of the attire itself, he's got what looks to be a two-piece necklace, but it is actually just one singular mold for the necklace. Don't mind that at all. Makes it a little bit easier if it moves, push them both down at the same time. The jacket does have some pretty nice sculpt detail in it. Of course, the base of the jacket itself is more smoothened out. It's got a little bit of texture built into it, like that little flap right there. But most of the texture is going to be in the arms, because the sleeves are rolled up, so you're going to see a lot of the folds and wrinkles in the jacket that way. They've also got little like gold buttons here, if I can get my camera to focus. Focus, come on, there we go, it focused. But you've got a couple little gold buttons there, and on the front you've got the silver zippers and all that good molding right there. It looks really good. Now, of course, you may not be able to tell, but if you peeled the rubber jacket back a little bit, he's got a purple belt. Love how it actually does continue through the rest of the pants mold as well, as it would be a little disappointing if it was just like the first few in the front, because they don't anticipate most people to take this off. But happy that they did paint that detail in. One detail I'm a little saddened by is the fact that the glove like wrist gauntlet part up here is actually sculpted onto the figure. You know, not like the biggest ordeal, but I kind of wish they were more like Roman Reigns gauntlets or something of that nature where they're actually removable. But not the biggest ordeal, you know? Really not. He's got a pretty nice, like, skinny jean-ish mold. Lots of good articulation as well. We will break that down here in a little bit. But of course, getting into the shoe mold, I do love the dark purple outsoles with the lighter purple on top. Of course, I kind of do wish it was a little darker on the top, but it's more accurate that way anyway, so that doesn't really matter. And of course, I've been kind of ignoring it, but Jericho definitely does hold that bat pretty well with that microphone holding hand. So I guess that's just a FYI for anybody who's looking to pick this up for any like future pick fetting or whatever. Though do note, he does not have an extra mic holding hand, so it's either bat or it's microphone. There, you can't do both unless you like have him hand off the bat and then he grabs the microphone, does his promo, drops the microphone, grabs bat back or whatever. I don't know, that's really my only big gripe about this figure. Everything else I don't mind, besides like the hair color. Just wish we had the extra mic holding hand. Maybe if this ever gets released, or well, not released, re-released in the future, maybe they'll actually include the extra hand. That would be pretty dope. But because I'm curious, and with the AEW figures, you can do this cool kind of stuff, I want to see what the alternative like options I can play around with are with this Jericho. So I'm going to grab a couple of extra AEW figures, including, of course, the other AEW Jericho I own right there. And we shall see what the possibilities are as far as it comes to this. Alright, well, first things first, I did a swap between the jeans mold of the Supreme Edition Kenny Omega and the Walmart exclusive Chris Jericho, and they both actually fit pretty snug in each other's jeans. Funny, I guess you could say, if you think about it a little too hard. But all in all, I think that'll work. So, you know, you could have Kenny Omega come out with purple shoes and black jeans one night. You can have Jericho come out in the blue jeans maybe. I don't know. It definitely does work a hell of a lot better than I thought that would. But we've also got some more that we can do. Now, you know, I highly doubt you cared to see Jericho in Punk's gear. But the CM Punk with the jeans, it does work. Of course, I don't have the CM Punk ringside exclusive where he came back and did his first promo back after he had been away from wrestling for so many years. But, until I get that figure, if I need to do a promo with Punk and I don't want him to be in ring gear, this'll definitely do. And with that, we can get on to the next one. I don't know exactly which one I want to do though just yet. This one's going to be kind of a little 2-for-1 real quick, so sorry Jericho, you're not putting on MJF's tights. But I think it works out fairly well for an MJF, like, jeans mold, if you really wanted to use it for MJF jeans. Maybe just find a shirt that could go over the top, his, top half here or whatever, so if you don't have a suit, at least you've got some sort of alternative for it. And with that, let's look at the little flip-flop here. Taking a look at Shawn Spears in the jeans. Of course, the one arm is kind of a little weird to look at. But I'm sure if you really wanted to and you wanted a Shawn Spears in, manager-esque gear, because of the color scheme of the Pinnacle gear that I have, definitely works for me. I think it would be weird to see every Inner Circle member with the same jeans mold, but worst case scenario, if I really needed them for more of a manager promo role and I didn't want them to be in ring gear, this would definitely suffice. Maybe could even use the Kenny Omega leg mold, but that's besides the point. Now why don't we get into the final point, the final action figure swap. Then we can get into a final pose and all that good jazz and get into the final thoughts and stuff on the figure. Now getting into the final swap here, I don't know if it's just me, but maybe this torso is a little bit taller, because unless it's just the size differences in the head sculpt, kind of looks like this Jericho kind of becomes a little bit shorter or whatever. But I don't really see it as the worst ordeal. Of course, that Jericho head sculpt also does kind of sit a little too high on most neck pegs anyway. So that could also be my issue there too, as it looks like it is about a forehead size higher. But I still do really mess with the idea of the Jericho and the jeans and stuff like that with the Hawaiian shirt on, the necklace and dog tags. I feel like that would be a really interesting way to have Jericho do promos from here on out. Of course, having him enter with the jacket with those tights, probably not gonna happen. But you never know, maybe I might, maybe I won't. It kind of looks a little goofy though in my opinion, so I don't think I'll be doing that. But if you really wanted to, it's an alternative. And as far as the jacket coming off of that torso, I'm sure you probably could if you really wanted to. But the torso underneath it does have a little bit of paint on it. And that is so that way the jacket kind of just blends in a little bit more without the skin tone popping through. Probably something they did with the fact that the Kenny Omega has that problem where the skin kind of peeks through it. I don't care if the camera focuses for that part or not. But yeah, Chris Jericho, Walmart exclusive. You've got a lot of options you can play around with. And I'm really happy I did decide to invest in getting this figure for my collection, as now if I really wanted to, Jericho promo segments from here on out may look a little bit better. But on top of that though, let's also be honest, I don't know if I'm going to put the knee brace over the jeans mold if I do decide to do promos in that attire while he is kind of in the middle of his knee injury angle. But other than that, yeah, let's get into the final pose and the final thoughts of this figure, and let's just see how everything goes. Alright, now that we've got the figure in the final pose, I have no thorough gripes with this figure other than the mic holding hand. Wish there was an extra one. Maybe the hair could be a little tad darker. But other than that, this figure definitely kicks a lot of ass for the price that it's at. I want to say I paid a little over $19 after tax and stuff like that for the Walmart Jericho. And in all honesty, definitely worth the pickup in my opinion if you can find it in stores. I don't know about aftermarket prices, but in-store pickup definitely worth the cop in my opinion. Now, with that being said, what would I rate the figure? I think it's fair to say giving this figure a good solid 7.5 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. Couple points knocked off for the hair and the hand. Other than that, everything is really solid with this figure. Between the shoe mold, shoe color, the fact that the belt is actually painted on there, the different sculpts in the jacket and the jacket arms. I actually do also mess with the tattoo placement on the forearm way more than I do on the normal Unrivaled figure that I use. So that's also something else to note there. But other than that, I said 7.5, 7.5 out of 10. Let's say a good solid 3 out of 5 stars. I think that's good for this Walmart Jericho. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see this Walmart Jericho in the next episode of the Pig Fed. Maybe you'll see him in the next, the future episode 8. Maybe you'll see him on anything else that will be Pig Fed related. I don't know. We'll always find a purpose for Jericho, I'm assuming, just because I do enjoy Jericho's work, and I enjoy the freedom of his promos. But with that being said, I don't want to ramble on too much longer just because my camera space is almost running out. So with that being said, like the video if you like the video. If you dislike it, feel free to dislike. I don't care if you do or don't, It doesn't really bother me. But on that note, subscribe for future action figure videos as far as action figure reviews and or an action figure pick fed. I'm currently working on episode 7. Hopefully I'll have that out as soon as possible. We are, I want to say, 2 episodes away from Absolute Carnage, and that is just including the normal weekly episodes. And I say it like that because, maybe if you watch here, if I don't decide to edit it out or blur it out or whatever, maybe, just maybe, by the time this review comes out, episode 7 would have come out. So you'll know that I plan on doing a 3-night live event series after episode 7. 3 matches on each card, nothing too long, and it will be match for match. I don't plan on having really any promo segments on it, if at all. It's more or less supposed to be like a live event scenario, so I will not be doing commentary. I may also even remove the commentary table and add in possible extra crowd space or just whatever it may be. I'm not exactly too sure how I plan to do the arena for it just yet. But now that I've rambled on a little bit longer than I planned and I only have about 2 more minutes left, if you're seeing this before any of the other reviews over here, plus the Mary Cart box that hasn't shown up as of recording, well, I hope you enjoyed the figure review. I hope you guys enjoyed your Halloween and or your, after Halloween, getting into the Thanksgiving stages of the holiday season. I don't know what else to really say here, so just have a good night, you guys. Peace.